Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Shivaya.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grasitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavat Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramo Panishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Let us read the verse number 29, 30th rather, on the page number 6. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya veti buddhissa partha satviki. So Lord Krishna is describing the threefold buddhi, intellect. Our mind performs various functions. So you must have heard in course of listening to Vedantic talks, that mind has 4 states. Not that there are 4 minds, but there are 4 functions that the mind performs. Manaha, buddhi, chittam, ahankara. These are the 4 functions that the mind performs, and mind is called one of these depending upon what function it performs. So sankalpa vikalpatmika antakarana vritti manaha. What we call manaha in Sanskrit is when our mind is, as I say, considering pros and cons about something, because before we come to a decision, we usually look at the pros and cons. Which investment to make, which college to join, which thing to do, then we'll say, you do this, it's benefit, loss, then pros and cons is what we consider. That state is called a manaha. As a result of doing that, then we come to the buddhi, nisyatmika antakarana vritti. We come to decision that this is what I want to do, this is where I want to invest, this is where I want to join, this is what I want to do. That state, when the mind makes decision, nischaya, is called buddhi. So it's a state of mind. Manaha is a state of mind when it is considering pros and cons. Buddhi is a state of mind when it comes to nischaya, or decision or conviction. Chittam is the state of mind when it is remembering. Ahankara is the state of mind when there is the sense of I-ness or the subject. Buddhi is a very important faculty, as we said yesterday, that the human beings have, with which we learn and grow. So that's the uniqueness that human being has, that we learn and grow, and with buddhi also we can do viveka, or we can discriminate, separate one thing from the other. So pravrittim cha nivrittim cha, the buddhi can separate or discriminate between pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti, activity, nivritti, withdrawal. So pravritti can be called action, nivritti can be called renunciation, how long to perform the action, when it is the time to renounce the action and turn over to the life of contemplation. Renunciation of action is not just being inactive, but it is only stepping into a little subtler state of the pursuit, where now you devote yourself to the pursuit of knowledge, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, listening to the teacher, reflecting upon that, meditating upon that. So that's called nivritti. Then also there is pravritti in the mind, but nivritti in activity as far as the outer actions are concerned. So this is what buddhi decides. Now is the time that the karma or activity has done its job. Its job is to create the maturity of the mind, purification of mind, to make the mind contemplative. Meaning that the purpose of living this life of activity as we are doing, which we may call grihasthashrama, the state of the householder, the purpose is to live a life by which slowly the mind becomes free from desires to enjoy. So this is a controlled enjoyment, the life of grihasthashrama, by which then and living the life of karma yoga. So progressively mind becomes mature, pure, becomes free from the need of now pleasure, is ready to shift to the next stage of life, vanaprastha, sannyasa, so forth. So buddhi is the one that decides all this. Karya, karye, what is karyam, what is the right thing to do, akaryam, what should not be done. Bandham moksham chaya vetti. What will cause bondage? What do I do which will bind me? Meaning that when I perform actions as prompted by desires, then the desire will be fulfilled as a result of that action, but it will give rise to new desire. So buddhi has to understand that when I perform desire prompted action, sakama karma, then I am creating for me a path of subsequent desire, resultant desire, karma, karma phala, action, reaction, is a path of bondage. Moksham, on the other hand, when perform actions free from desire. Swamiji, how can you perform an action free from desire? Free from the personal desire. The desire is to offer to Ishvara, to do good to the world, to the society, to become a contributor. So being consumer is a path of bondage. To be a contributor is a path of moksha, liberation. All of these buddhi can decide. So when the buddhi or the intellect has clarity about this, it is called the sattviki buddhi. When that clarity is not there, the next verse is Yaya dharmam adharmancha karyancha karyamevacha ayathavat prajanati buddhissa partha rajasi. To understand the sattva, rajas and tamas, imagine a pool of water. In that pool of water, the water contains impurities. Its surface is disturbed. Then we cannot have any clear view in that water. We cannot see what is beyond the water, what is at the bottom. This is a state of tamas, impurity. The impurities are relatively removed, but the surface is still wavy, disturbed. We can see something but not clearly. And finally, when water completely calms down, then it becomes a transparent body, then we can see through that water the bottom. So when the water is dirty, doesn't let us see anything, that is tamas. When the water is wavy, we see something but not clearly, rajas. And when the water becomes clean and transparent, sattva. So mind also, when there is predominance of tamas, can't see anything. Rajas, wavy. Sattva, clear. So the verse 30 describes how the mind, when it is clear, then it can make clear decisions. The verse 31 that we just read describes a mind which is influenced by rajas. So, waviness in water, you can see something but not clearly. So, a sattvic mind can make clear decisions. A rajas mind cannot make clear decisions. Not sure. Yaya dharma, so secondly, ayathavat prajanati. When one does not understand things as they are, is it dharma, adharma? Is it karyam, akaryam? Buddhi is not clear. And there are situations, Swami, what is right and what is wrong, what should I do, what should I not do? Buddhi is not able to decide, it doesn't have that clarity. That is when the mind is under the influence of rajas. So this verse says, by that, dharmam, adharmam cha, one cannot clearly distinguish dharma, righteousness, from adharma, unrighteousness. Sometimes mind is very clear that this is wrong and this is right. Sometimes mind is not clear. I think this also can be done, that also can be done, this. So when the mind is not able to clearly distinguish dharma and adharma, what is right and what is righteous and not righteous, that is rajas. Karyam, akaryam, karya, that which should be done. Akaryam, which should not be done, not clear. Ayathavat prajanati. Swami, should we take 410 or 409? 409. तो देश ये लेंगे कि वो लेंगे, इसमें इतनी ट्रैफिक लाइट आएगी, so cannot decide whether to take this route or that route. This is just a simple example. Sometimes very clear that I know what the route is and therefore I don't need to ask anybody. I don't even need the GPS. But otherwise GPS is still, GPS says this, but I think we should take that route, and that we go round and round. So very interesting. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, we cannot understand anything. Where are we? Oh, are we lost, or we are on the right path, or what is it? Tamas. So this we experience from time to time. Our mind is not always clear, is not always in the great mood. The moods of the mind change. Mood is sattvic, then very clear, cheerful, very, firm. Mind is rajas, then there is no clarity. So this way or that way. Mind is tamas, absolutely no. It is darkness in the mind. Yathavat means as it is. Ayathavat, not as it is. In a given situation where the mind cannot decide things as they are, whether doing this is called dharma or doing that is called dharma. See, this kind of conflicts arise in life, and we have seen this in Ramayana, in Mahabharata, and of course, when Lord Rama went after Marich, that demon who had taken the form of a deer, as planned, that deer ran away and took Rama for a long distance. Ultimately, Rama sent an arrow and killed him. But while dying, it made a loud sound, Ha Sita, Ha Lakshman, in the voice of Rama. So here in this Parnakuti, Sita and Lakshmana heard that. Sita said, hey, your brother is in trouble. Lakshmanji says, my brother cannot be in trouble. There is nobody in the whole three worlds that can do anything to my brother. Don't worry. No, I hear his voice clearly. And then Sita's mind became from sattvic to rajas to tamas. Then she started accusing Lakshmana, I think you have some wrong intentions. You don't go and help your brother. So you can see how the mind goes from sattva to rajas to tamas. Lakshmana is in a contrary, what to do? So again, lack of clarity. Should I go? Because my brother said don't. But my hubby says, Sitaji says I should go, what should I do? So this kind of, we don't have to face this kind of serious situations, but this is an example of how you cannot clearly decide what is the right thing to do here. So, ayathavat prajanati is not able to determine exactly what it is. That rajas, sometimes in the wash basin, the water gets filled up, then we see our face, wavy face. That is it, rajoguna. And so here also the mind becomes wavy and we cannot clearly determine what it is. This is called the mind which is under the influence of rajoguna, the buddhi. I have included all the three verses of buddhi because this is something very important for us to understand in our day-to-day life also. So look at the next verse. Adharmam dharmamitiya manyate tamasavrita sarvarthan viparitamscha buddhissa partha tamasi. In Ramayana, Ravana is an example of doing all wrong things. Beginning from kidnapping of Sitaji to all the way, whatever decisions he made, he was warned that now the army is coming. Rama's army is already camped on the other end, and they will soon come here. Oh, good. Oh, human beings are monkeys and coming is good. Our Rakshasas will have good food, he says, Let them come. So this is how you cannot clearly see the danger right in front of you. He could not say the danger when he kidnapped Sita, could not say danger when they were camping right in their front yard. So this is how person's mind just becomes clouded, or sometimes become totally dark. So when it becomes clouded, there is no clarity, and becomes dark, you made a wrong decision. Adharmam dharmamitya manyate tamasavrita. When the mind is under the influence of tamas, then adharma appears as dharma, dharma appears as adharma. Shooting, killing is the right thing to do. So somebody must have gone through a lot of struggle in the mind before assassinating, let us say, great people have been assassinated. Mahatma Gandhi to start with, or Kennedy. So, Mahatma Gandhi assassinated. That person must have gone through a lot of agitation, whether what is dharma, what is adharma. Then he came to a decision that he deserves to be killed, and therefore, what is dharma is taken to be dharma, and dharma is taken to be adharma. So these examples we see all around. When the mind becomes overcome by tamas, although many people may not agree with, these days there is a trend where Mahatma Gandhi is wrong in every way, and these people are right in every way. There is a whole trend going on in India, but I'm just giving an example. Sometimes Lord Rama could not decide what to do, how to kill Vali. He killed him from behind. Is it dharma or adharma? Lord Krishna had a lot of conflicts. So, Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya, one by one, all the commanders. Then Jayadratha and then Karna. All of them were killed by questionable means. And everybody, people ask question, why did Lord Krishna do this? How can Lord Krishna, who is teaching dharma, justify making these decisions which are clearly adharma? And Duryodhana also was killed that way. So a very beautiful answer is given that Lord Krishna's agenda in taking incarnation was paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam, for protecting the righteous and destroying the wicked. That is his main pratigna. You follow? That's the main pratigna or vow or proposition. Then the minor pratignas are there, whether this is right or wrong. But this minor right or wrong is ultimately dwarfed by the major right or wrong, that this is a sadhu and this dushkrita. And so protecting the sadhu, destroying the wicked. The wicked and sadhu. The primary pratigna. Now in doing that, sometimes you have to adopt means which may not be fair. So dharma, adharma, all these kind of conflicts are very clear, in Ramayana, Mahabharata in particular. But then many decisions were made in Mahabharata battle also. You can see it is tamasic decision, rajasic decision, sattvic decision. Adharmam dharmamitya manyate tamasavrata. Because of tamas, one has a totally wrong view. In rajas, we are not clear about what is right and wrong. In tamas, what is wrong appears right and what is right appears wrong. Otherwise, so much of violence and all this cannot go on in the world. When a person actually shoots somebody, in his mind is convinced that this is the thing to do. Whatever convinces the mind of that person when he undertakes that, does that, but that person must have his own reason, So that is how the adharma appears to be dharma and dharma appears to be adharma. Buddhisa partha tamasi. That buddhi is called tamasi under the influence of tamas. So this is how Lord Krishna described the classifications of the buddhi or the deciding faculty, determining faculty. Now further Lord Krishna talks about sukham, happiness. So all the different elements of karma were described. The discussion began with the nature of tyaga or renunciation, and particularly renunciation of karma, because that is the primary thing for Arjuna. So what is right renunciation? What is sattvic renunciation? What is rajas renunciation? What is tamas renunciation? Lord Krishna said that which is a duty can never be given up. Some people think that karma must be given up, that is tamas. Some people give up things that is right to do, but because too difficult, too painful, they give up rajas. And some people, regardless of what difficulties are there, do what is right, sattva. So that way the tyaga is described. In course of describing tyaga or renunciation, the anatomy of karma has been described, so that we can observe our own mind and slowly monitor our mind. Monitor the various vrittis of thought that are arising, classify them as described here. It is sattvic, rajas, tamas. And then tamas to be transformed, rajas, and rajas to be sattva. That is the process. As a result, then what comes is, the result karma phala is happiness. So then, next Lord Krishna describes happiness. Happiness also sattvic, rajas and tamas. And so, here we included the twofold happiness. Sattvic happiness, rajas happiness. So let us read the verse number 37. Yattadagre vishamiva pariname mritopamam tatsukham sattvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. So, in this afternoon a question arose, Swami, why should we study Bhagavad Gita? What does Gita has to contribute in our life? We know what to do in our business, in our, vyavaharik world, we quite well versed. We know how to perform our day-to-day activities properly and we are successful in life. So when we are successful, what does Bhagavad Gita have to contribute? So this is what Bhagavad Gita has to contribute. And happiness also is sattvic happiness, rajas happiness, tamas happiness. Sattvic happiness, happiness that is accompanied with freedom. Rajas happiness, happiness which brings about bondage. Tamas happiness, of course, is just the delusion of happiness. But what we are confronted with in our day-to-day life is the choice between sattvic happiness and rajas happiness. So we will see now where the world is going. In which direction is the world going? In direction of sattva or in direction of rajas? Tamas is very clear anyway. So here verse 37 describes the sattvic happiness, meaning happiness born of sattva or resulting from sattva. Means our mind is clear, transparent. Then what kind of happiness do we experience? So this verse that we read said, Yat tadagre vishamiva, that which is like poison or bitter or painful in the beginning, pariname amrutopamam, but which results into something that is very, amrita means something that is very sweet. So that which is bitter in the beginning and sweet in the end. In Ayurveda, there is this ginger, dry ginger, called, sunt. So that when you eat, it is very pungent, very, so it's not tasty. So, which is painful when you eat it, but they say that it results, the outcome is sattvic, outcome is sweet. So, tastes very strong in the beginning, but results into something very sweet. Something may taste sweet and result into poison. So here also, yat tadagre vishamiva, the sattvic sukham. Where does this sukha come from? It has been described here, and this verse also describes that the source of Atma is the source of happiness. And Atma is the only source of happiness. Next verse will tell us, but happiness seems to come from the objects also, that will also be discussed. But one who understands that Atma, the self, is the source of happiness. Because happiness can be only in conscious being, it cannot be in unconscious things. Then all objects of the world are unconscious. The only entity that is conscious is the self. I am the conscious being, the subject is the conscious being, everything else which is object is unconscious. So rule is that consciousness can never become the object of our awareness. Whatever is object is always unconscious. Meaning the whole world falls in the category of unconscious. And the rule is that happiness can only be in consciousness, which means that it cannot be in anything other than the self. So one understands, and therefore is seeking to make the mind, but that is difficult because we have to make the mind introvert. When we make the mind inward looking, by freeing the mind from the raga-dveshas which drag the mind away, so it is raga-dveshas, attachment and aversion, that in fact kidnap the mind from the self and throws into non-self. Meaning that the mind becomes extrovert in the influence of raga-dvesha, rajas-tamas. To make the mind inward, to experience the happiness of the self, we have to make the mind inward. And for that, we have to overcome these raga-dveshas. Tough job. Meaning that we have to bring about the purification of mind to experience real happiness. To experience the self, the mind must become the inward looking. What makes the mind extrovert? Raga-dveshas, rajas, or kama-krodha. These impulses, in fact, drive away the mind from the self. And therefore, we have to make our mind free from the influence of all the impulses. Whether it is anger, greed, jealousy, these all impurities that cloud the mind, we have to deliberately make the mind free from all the impulses. A tough job. And that job is very demanding. It need not be called painful, but certainly demanding. If you want to be vegan, then so many temptations you have to overcome. So, Swamiji, we have this chicken, I'm sorry, I can't, vegan. We have this magas, with this ghee inside, vegan. Vegan means you have to starve, really, literally. What I'm saying is that, so all the tempting things are in front of you. No, you are left only khichdi, that are without ghee, And then so many restrictions are there. That requires a lot of sacrifice. So when we are on the same dining table, there is always these days, there is some one or two our fellows are vegan. And they look at me, I'm eating chicken, I'm eating magas. And you can't have that. You can't have anything fried in ghee also, you cannot have. Swamiji, why don't you turn vegan? I said, what sin have I committed for me to turn into vegan, Anyway, this is just a joke, but the thing is, so this requires discipline. For good health, I'm sure. And then there are many other aspects of the diet. What the wheat and other, what do they have? This is the gluten, that's another, gluten-free. Now, with all the vegan and gluten-free, you are left with nothing, really, But people are very strict. Some of the children are also very strict and they go into the internet and see that number 3002 and no, leaves. So no candies, no cookies, no nothing. And they do undergo the discipline. So some children come, we offer them candy. What is Swami? Oh, not this candy, not that candy, not that candy. And not this, and not that nut. So, yat dagre vishamiva, something very painful in the beginning, is good for health. This is the short-term gain, long-term pain. So all the eating, the chicken and all this is short-term gain, gives you immediate pleasure, immediate gratification, but creates problem in future. So they give us a lecture and after that also, it's difficult for me to overcome my temptation, But if you want to be vegan, eat only healthy food. Vishamiva, you have to let go of many things. So this fellow says, I have to look and what all I cannot eat. 36 things I cannot eat now. But pariname amrutopamam, short-term pain, but long-term gain, your health is good. So this is the sattva. In order to make the mind introvert, the mind must be made free from all temptations. What drives the mind away from the self are the temptations in the world. And that is why we give up all things that is good because of temptations. To make the mind introvert, we have to overcome those temptations. And that is a tough job. But those who are able to do, yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amrutapam, that which brings about short-term pain but long-term gain, this is called sattva. And that's how the mind is slowly made introvert and the mind is able to experience the lasting happiness of the self. By giving up the fleeting happiness of the objects, because my mind has been so far only experiencing those things and enjoying those things, so mind is only accustomed to enjoying this stuff. Vegan and no gluten, and there are many no carb and no this and no that. I said, what is left now anyway? No carb, no gluten, no dairy. Thank you. That will next verse I will do. I'll keep that project for the next verse. But people are doing it right in front of me. short-term pain, long-term gain, that is sattva. That's how you become healthier. And the mind also becomes healthy when it makes healthy choices. It avoids all the source of happiness which are corrupting. The next verse will tell us that. And chooses only that source of happiness, that is only meditation and prayers, karma yoga. Right values and attitude is what we require to make the mind sattvic. And so amanitvam, adamvitvam, ahimsa, amanitvam, humility, adamvitvam, sincerity, purity, honesty. Tough. And I have to sacrifice a lot of things for that. Beginning very difficult in the beginning. Pariname, amritopamam, short-term pain, long-term. That is how spiritual growth is. That we cannot do two things together. The mind cannot be out there as well as in here. For the mind to be in here, we have to withdraw it from out there. And the mind doesn't want to do that because accustomed to cheap gains, immediate gratification. And the mind is trained to give up the temptation for immediate gratification and long-term gain. So yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amrutopamam, that which is difficult in the beginning, but then amrutopamam, which is very sweet, or sweet means that effortless. This happiness coming from sattva is effortless. When the mind becomes sattvic, you need not do anything to be happy, because that mind is like the pool of water which has become transparent. So what is at the bottom is very clearly revealed. As the mind becomes sattvic, it reveals what is at the bottom, which is Atma, which is happiness. So as the mind becomes sattvic, we experience the happiness of our own self. That's how Vairagya comes. Vairagya does not come merely by nitya vastu, etc. is all right, but then Vairagya means real dispassion comes when the mind experiences inner happiness. To the extent that the mind experiences inner happiness, to that extent the mind becomes free from the temptations of what's out there. So what Vedanta talks about, Viveka, Vairagya, all of this is making the mind sattvic. And so, which is difficult in the beginning, but then which gives you an abiding happiness, effortless. Requires a lot of effort in the beginning, then ultimately becomes effortless. That is the happiness coming from sattva. On the other hand, the next verse says, Vishayendriya Sanyogat Yat tadagre mritopamam Pariname vishamiva Tat sukham raja samsmritam. Now, example of short-term gain, long-term pain, that's his example. So, yat tadagre amrutopamam, that which is very sweet in the beginning. Amrutam is nectar, which is sweet in the beginning. Short-term gain. Pariname vishamiva, but then turns out to be bitter at the end, meaning long-term pain. So our mind wants immediate gratification. The way it goes after whatever offers gratification, and thus it gets used to, habituated to immediate gratification. So that is what, because we don't have, first of all, an understanding of what happiness really is, where happiness is, and seeing the whole world running after the objects of happiness, we are also convinced that that is where the happiness is. Happiness is in success, Swamiji. It is in wealth. It is in power. It is in fame. So that is where you success. That is where you get happiness. But happiness, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is key to success. And so, When we understand what true success is, then we realize that what we call success, Vishayendriya Sanyogat, so the gratification that comes to the sense organs by contact with the sense object, that called sense gratification. This is what usually we go for. I'm not criticizing, commenting, I'm just describing Vishaya Indriya Sanyogat arising from contact of sense organs with sense objects. The happiness that arises is immediate gratification. Sounds very sweet in the beginning, pariname vishamiva, but then turns out very bitter. Why does it turn out bitter? Because there is a law of diminishing return. So the happiness, the joy, the pleasure that I get when I eat the first rasagulla, I'm in heaven. Second rasagulla, good still. Third rasagulla, fourth rasagulla, fifth one comes out. So, as far as the pleasure coming from the sense objects is concerned, it is the law of diminishing return. In the beginning, it's very tempting and sweet, and then I become addicted to that. This is addicting happiness. Sattvic happiness is releasing happiness. Rajas happiness coming from the objects of pleasure makes me addicted. I cannot do without them. Like a cup of tea. Sounds very good in the beginning. For many years I never, because they did not allow us to drink tea at home. So as long as I was at home, no tea. Once I went out, I saw everybody drinking tea, and it's 9:30 in the morning, and then, and I did not drink tea, and therefore I was deprived of and they were all enjoying and discussing and laughing, and I said, I'm missing out all this. So I started drinking tea, we joined them. It's good. So this went on for some time until I once went to the factory on a holiday for maintenance. At that time there was no tea club going on, so 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30, I slowly started getting headache. 11 o'clock, severe headache. 11:30 I threw up. I said, what is happening to me? I did not understand. When this happened 2-3 times, then I realized that I'm addicted to tea. So when the tea does not come within the right time period, I have headaches, I have migraine. So, yattad agare amrutopamam, the tea in the beginning is very sweet and very pleasant, but then later on binds me and gives me all kinds of headaches. Now I can't do without it. I'm addicted to that. Meaning that all the happiness coming from objects of senses is all nothing but creates addiction. Because there is a law of diminishing return. You need more and more of it for the same quantum of happiness, and you cannot do without them. So that is a path of dependence or bondage. Tat sukham. This is a happiness that the whole world is pursuing, of course. What is the use of studying Bhagavad Gita? This is it. That what are you doing in your life? What are you pursuing? Are you pursuing sattvic happiness or rajas happiness? We think that we are very happy. Swami, I am very happy. Well, you must know what happiness is. I'm always happy, but do you ever get angry? That I do. You get jealous? That I do. I said, that's all sign of unhappiness. Most of the time that is what it is, Now and then, our Swami said, dukkam, 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 sukham, dukkam, 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 sukham. In many, all dukkha, now and then there is a sort of a glare of sukham, but so people do not understand that. So Gita, that's what teaches that, hey, happiness is not where you think it is. Happiness is where you cannot suspect. You don't suspect where it can be. The story of this, you must have heard, because when you listen to us, these stories always come. But these two passengers traveling together, From in the olden days, from Madras to Delhi, that journey would take a couple of days, So one was a very wealthy person carrying with him a lot of cash because he's going to Delhi. You know why you go to Delhi with cash? So, and other one was they found out that this fellow is traveling with a lot of cash. So he managed to get the ticket in the first class, the same coupe. So now in one coupe we have two passengers, a lower seat and lower berth, upper berth. Lower berth fellow is a wealthy person, upper berth fellow is a thief. He has already planned that moment this fellow goes to sleep, I'll rob him. Went to sleep. This fellow came down, searched here and there, and then he searched his, baggage and so forth. He had all kinds of keys, couldn't find anything. Next day says, okay, I'll search him now. Maybe he's hiding on his person. Could not find it. But every morning this fellow is slowly opening his briefcase and counting those notes. This he sees from the corner, oh wow, this fellow has money in his briefcase. Second day also he is counting. Now came the time, Delhi is coming at 10 o'clock. Both the nights this fellow is very frustrated because he could not find. Before they reached Delhi, again this fellow opened the briefcase, started counting. This fellow bowed down to him. Says, I'm a very famous thief from Delhi. But you are my guru. Because I've been searching for where you are hiding the money, I could not find. The money was hidden in a place where that fellow would never suspect, where under his own pillow. So when he went out to the bathroom for changing, this fellow put money there. He would never suspect. You must suspect that happiness is here. We search for it everywhere. This is all what the world is doing. Unfortunately, we all grow up in this world and therefore we just follow. Gatano gatiko lokaha. Like a sheep, we follow the rest of them. And therefore we adopt the same values. Success is wealth and fame and power. That is called success. And that is the goal of life. Therefore, this education should be provided to our children at the right age, not at the young age. Not that we don't want to kill their enthusiasm. When they become mature, have achieved something, when there was some self-worth, having achieved something, then we can tell them that, look, the path, this is not the right path. And then when some self-worth comes, then he can turn around. So this is Sattvic Sukh. Tamas Sukh is just of the, sleep and stuff like that. That is not, that's just a delusion of happiness. But this is very important. The short-term pain, long-term gain, Sattvic happiness. Short-term gain, long-term pain, Rajas happiness. The Lord Krishna describes the qualities. Lord described the Varnashrama, how the division of the labor was done or division of duty was done based on the disposition of the mind. So a lot of misunderstanding about the Varnashrama dharma of the Vedas, that there was a division of duties. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. In the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna said that I have created Chaturvarnyam, I have created these 4 varnas, or people with 4 dispositions. It is not confined only to India, it is around the world. Wherever human beings are there, they can be divided into these 4 castes, if you want to call them. The only difference is that the Vedas recognized this and they organized it. Not that Vedas have created castes and branded Brahmana, Kshatriya. Brahmana, Kshatriya are the description of disposition, and therefore the human society anywhere can be classified into these 4 categories. There are people, few who can be called Brahmanas, the contemplative thinking people, There are people who can be called Kshatriya, the leaders, managers, and leaders. Third category of people who are Vaishyas, who are the farmers and the traders, etc. And fourth kind of people who are only good for the menial work, labor work. So this is what every society has. The human mind has this four. Everybody is not made to do everything. So Vedas recognize these four dispositions and accordingly divided duties in the society depending upon this. It was not meant to be a rigid system. So Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Lord Krishna says that I created the four varnas based on the disposition of mind. That karma, the duties are assigned in keeping with the disposition of mind, so that there is harmony between the person and the function that he or she has to perform. So, therefore, what is the disposition of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra? Our interest is that we all have to turn into Brahmanas. Does not matter how we are born. We may right now Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, whatever kind of tendencies are predominant in us. But basically where the Sattva is predominant, that person is called a Brahmana. Where Rajas is predominant, followed by Sattva is called Kshatriya, leaders. Where Rajas is predominant, followed by Tamas is called Vaishya, trader. And Tamas is predominant, followed by Rajas is the laborer. We have all the four in us. And we have to slowly transform our mind from the Shudra to Vaishya to Kshatriya to Brahmana for our interest. For that, I have reproduced here the dispositions of the four castes. So, the next verse is Shamo Damastapashaucham Kshantirarjavameva cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikyam Brahma Karma Svabhavajam. So Brahmana is one who enjoys a predominance of sattva. Brahmana is the one, that is how he is called Brahmana. So when the mind is predominant in sattva, we already saw many things. One more thing, how is our disposition? So says here, Shamaha, Damaha, Tapaha, Shaucham. These are the natural traits of a person when the mind enjoys predominance of sattva. Although they are called duties of Brahmana, this is really nature of Brahmana, not duties. Even though, so it is called Brahma Karma, the duty of Brahmana, but this is nature of Brahmana. Shamaha, tranquility of mind. Damaha, control of senses. Tapaha, austerity. So love for austerity. A natural tranquility of the mind. When sattva is predominant, mind will be tranquil. The sense organs also are under control because that craving is not there. A sattvic mind is free from craving. When mind is craving, then that craving manifests in the sense organs and they run out toward the sense objects. But here the sense organs also are quiet. Damaha. Tapaha. They are, the tendency is to perform tapaha, penance. So vegan, this is all tapascharya, by the way. So when you are a vegan, there must be, that requires a lot of penance, a lot of self-control is required, a lot of, you to give up a lot of things. And so, this vegan business keeps coming to my mind because that's what's going on since the last 4 days here in this place, Wherever I go for food, there are always some fellows who are vegan. That creates the guilt feeling in me, When I'm eating this thing, then, And this fellow sitting in front of me, and no, this, not this, not this. Even young people also. And I am here eating all kinds of stuff which is wrong. But so that is why this example keeps coming to my mind. We require dhamma, self-control, tapaha, austerity. Shamo, damas, tapaha, shaucham. Shaucham means purity of mind. The intentions are pure. Shaucham is outer purity also, cleanliness. So shaucham is of twofold, outer cleanliness and also the disposition of mind. Cleanliness, outward cleanliness, and also cleanliness of the mind. Shaucham. Meaning your intentions are honest. What is meant by the inner purity of mind here is that your intentions are honest. You are a transparent person. Not something inside and something else outside. That would be different. So, a person who is sattvic is that more sattvic you are, more transparent you are. Because less fearful you are. A transparent person has no fear because there is no difficulty in seeing what is inside because he is self-assured, self-confident. But otherwise we are not. What is one thing inside, other is outside, lack of transparency. So as rajas comes, lack of transparency. Tamas comes, no transparency. Sattva, all transparency. So our disposition varies from all transparency to no transparency. Sattva, rajas and tamas. So here is a description of a mind, of a brahmana who enjoys predominance of sattva, where shamaha, tranquility of mind, damaha, control of the self, tapaha, natural austerity, because he is not, there is no bhoga or there is no indulgence in this person. He doesn't need to indulge into anything because he is happy with himself. More happy we are with ourselves, less is a need to indulge into these sense pleasures. Damaha, tapaha, shaucham, purity outwardly the person also is very organized, inwardly also is very clear, the intentions are also honest, shaucham. Kshanti. Kshanti means forgiveness, compassion, forgiveness, large-heartedness. Okay, all right. So, large-heartedness. Somebody said something, all right. Did something, okay. I mean, we are large-hearted when our, grandfather is there, the grandchild says something, okay. Does something, so he spilled something, spoiled something, nothing happens to this grandfather. When he was father, when his son did it, he gave a slap, When he was young man, he was father, then the children never came before the father, in front of him. Very strict. Same person becomes grandfather, his nature undergoes transformation. This little thing invokes something. Because for me, nobody could dare to go to this person. The poor grandfather is an isolated person in the house because nobody goes to him. Because of what he was in the past. Now this little grandchild comes. That thing is so innocent that it goes and pulls the hair. Now the grandfather does nothing. All his strictness, everything seems to have melted away in front of this fellow. So this little thing brings about a complete transformation in this old man. This is the magic that little things carry out, and that's how grandchild is very precious to grandparents and particular grandfathers. But grandfather is an isolated person. Nobody usually, because of his nature and stuff like that. It may not be so here, but I have seen it in India very often. But when this little thing comes, it doesn't know any distinction. So it goes right there and does what nobody would dare to do, to climb his, on his shoulder and pull his hair and his beard and stuff like that. And the grandfather is so happy. So how a magic happens, how transformation happens in the nature. So here is Kshantihi. He forgives everything. This grandfather forgives everything that the grandchild does. That's called forgiveness. Large-heartedness. Oh, he's a little child. He never forgave his own children. We may not forgive his spouse, maybe, but this fellow has all the privilege. So you can say Kshantihi, forgiveness, large-heartedness. Arjavam, straightforwardness, honesty. So in sattvic mind, these things are natural. Jnanam, vijnanam, astikyam, knowledge. Vijnanam is putting the knowledge into practice. Astikyam, a natural trust in the scriptures, in Ishvara, trust in Ishvara. Born with that. We don't have to train them. Some children are born that they are devoted. They go to temple. They stand there and do this and all. Or at home also they join the grandmother. In the morning when the grandmother wakes up early and does the puja, then this little thing crawls, sits on her lap, and then wants to snatch away the arati and bell, and it wants to do that. It can play with the Shivalinga also, by the way, after grandmother goes away. But anyway, so some children have this tendency from the beginning. So this is how jnana astikyam brahma karma svabhavayam. This is the nature of a brahmana, of a person who enjoys the predominance of sattva. Next verse tells us the nature of a kshatriya. Shauryam tejo dhrutirdakshyam yuddhe chapyapalayanam dhanamishvara bhavascha kshatram karma svabhavajam. That's how Kshatriya is. Kshatriya is a warrior class. This was the Brahmana, is a priest class. Second is the warrior class, the leader class. These people are born with this tendency of leadership as well as confronting the difficult situations. So Shauryam, it is a duty, it's not duty, but nature of Kshatriya is Shaurya, heroism. Tejaha, boldness. Dhrutihi, fortitude. Daksham, skill. Yuddhecha, apalayanam, not retreating from battle, from a challenge. Dhanam, generosity. Ishvara, rulership. So these are the qualities of a leader. So when you want to choose people, what kind of people should you have as your in the consulting staff? Every corporation will have a staff which is think tank, consulting. So a Brahmana should be selected. Now appoint a manager, no Brahmana, this one. The leader should be appointed. So leader has this quality. Kshatriya is a born leader. He has heroism, meaning that he will not, he will dare to take confront any challenge. Tejaha, he has that boldness. Dhrutihi, will not fall for any obstacles. What obstacles come, he will strive and overcome the obstacles. Darkshyam, also the skill. Not that he is just a bold person, but also he has the skill to do things in the right situation. What is the right way of doing it? That skill also he has. Yuddhecha api apalayanam, not retreating from the challenges. Here, not from battle, but in a day-to-day life, not retreating from challenges. Dhanam is a generous person also. A leader should be a generous person. That alone can be really a leader. Because a leader should be the one who wants to pull up his team. A leader is the one who must be devoted to well-being of the members of his team. A self-centered person cannot be a leader. A generous person who wants to bring up the other people. Then you push them up, they'll pull you. They'll push you. You pull them up, they will push you up also. You put them down, and they'll bring you down. So very often the relationship is that the leader wants to go up at the cost of the followers, and they will pull his legs. A leader is the one who wants the well-being of his followers, his team members. Then they will support him. Therefore, dhanam, charity. Charity is not only in terms of money. Charity in terms of being generous for the well-being of others. He wants others also to prosper, others also to grow, others also to become effective, others also become leader. A leader should create leaders. So dhanam, Ishvara bhavascha, the natural rulership. So these are the qualities of a manager or qualities of a leader. So making selections, the personnel department, or the human resources department, they may know, but this will be a good guidance, for them. When they are selecting the personnel, they need all the four. They need Brahmana also, Kshatriya also, Vaishya. But because when you are choosing a salesman, etc., then this is not the quality. What's the quality? That's the next one, the Vaishyas. Krushigau Raksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Shudrasyapi Svabhavajam. A Vaishya is a trader or a businessman. Krushi, in those days, the agriculture also was the duty of the Vaishya. Go Rakshya, meaning cattle rearing, goes with agriculture. Vanijyam, trading. So only a Vaishya is qualified to trade, to advance loans, to borrow, to advance loans, trading, get interest and stuff like that. All this is the job of a Vaishya. A Brahmana cannot do that. He doesn't have the mind. A Kshatriya also doesn't have mind. Only Vaishya has the mind. How to create business. So these Patels, wherever they go, they look around, and see the opportunity of business. They will find an opportunity to open this kind of store here, open this kind of this here, this kind of business here. And so that is the mind of a business, a trader, a Vaishya. He's not downgrading them. This is what you need. We need all the four for the prosperity of the society. Brahmanas should be few, Kshatriyas also few, Vaishyas are many, and Shudras even more. Because that is what the society requires. So, Krushi, Gauraksha, Vanijyam, agriculture, rearing of the cattle, those days. Now agriculture, etc. is there, but also now in a different scale it is done. And Vanijyam, trading, this is what a Vaishya is good at. In his mind, there is predominance of Rajas followed by Sattva. In Brahmana, predominance of Sattva. Kshatriya, predominance of Rajas followed by Sattva. Vaishya, Rajas followed by Tamas. And Shudra, predominance of Tamas. Sattvic mind, Sattva Rajas, Rajas Tamas, and Tamas. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, this is how the duties were divided in the society. Paricharyatmakam karma, Shudrasyapi svabhavajam, and the duty of the Shudra is service of the rest of the people, the rest of the society. This is not putting down people. This is just giving them what is right for their disposition and their aptitude and skills. Now this is highly criticized around the world because it is like a whip with which you can beat up the Hindus, And so the caste system goes on now also, and there are what shall I say, active interests or who want to get, you want to keep the issue alive. And and punish the other people, whatever it is. But the caste system is not meant to be unfair to anybody, not meant to create divisions in society, divisions only. See, if the dharma is the basic attitude, when artha kama become the main goals, then this system doesn't work. No system will work when artha and kama, meaning when wealth and comfort, when they become goal, no system will work. Dharma, the righteousness, when that is the goal, then all the system works. So this varnashrama vyavastha, or this whole setup of varna and ashrama, the caste and the stages of life, was meant to have dharma as the primary goal. Because the Vedas prescribe that moksha is the primary goal of a human being. And dharma is the means of moksha. So dharma means righteousness, duty. Dharma also means duty, a life based on duty. So duty is important, then karma is important, karma phala is not important. So when karma phala becomes important, then artha kama, then the wealth and comfort become important. When dharma is important, the karma is important. So when Lord Krishna says, karmanyavadikaraste, may you perform your karma or duty, dharma is important. Ma phaleshu, phala means artha kama. So artha kama, artha means wealth and kama means pleasure. So they are not the goals. Dharma or duty of doing the right thing is a goal. That's what Lord Krishna teaches. When the society is based on the goal of dharma, everything works very well. But when the Westerners came with artha and kama as a main, because that society is based on artha kama. Because they had a lot of hardship in their life and therefore how to exploit the nature, how to get most out of that, how to make the life comfortable, how to make the life. And so the Eastern thing, the Indian, they never bothered about that. They always were focused upon dharma, righteousness. But when these samskaras came, artha kama, total confusion in society. When artha kama comes, this varnashrama vyavastha cannot work. It can work only when dharma is the basis. So it worked very well in India in the Vedic times when dharma was the basis of the social system. Later on, in the influence of the foreigners, when artha kama, meaning the pleasure and comfort, became important, and dharma became secondary, dharma was slowly and slowly compromised, and the system based on dharma will not work. So that is how the caste system broke down, because the values changed. There may be other reasons also, but primary reason is that the varnashrama vyavastha, or the system of the caste and stage of life, is based on dharma, based on duty, not on karma phala, not on artha kama. And it worked very well in the Vedic times when the society was very prosperous, very productive, very creative. And the best of the science, India was best in every field at that time. Later on came all the invaders and all their values of money and plundering and whatever it is, and that influence came. Artha kama came. And so then the system broke down. The reason why I am saying is so that you understand, because there is a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of misinformation prevails about this, and so at least you understand where the varnashrama vyavastha is coming from, what is the basis, and how it was meant for at any time. If dharma is the basis of life, is conducive to happiness. Artha kama is short-term gain, long-term pain. Dharma is short-term gain, short-term pain, long-term gain. But because people want immediate gratification, therefore dharma gets compromised. Righteousness gets compromised. Duties get compromised. Looks like society is very prosperous, but miserable. Very prosperous we are. In the midst of all kinds of wealth and comfort we are. But whether we are happy or not, because that is the state of the mind, and that only comes by dharma. I'm not suggesting there is no dharma but then that state of mind when you're happy is a state of mind that comes by following dharma. Duties, righteousness, values. So this is how the 18th chapter we selected. This is only we are up to verse 43, and but we from the middle portion of the 18th chapter we selected these verses, which are very useful verses, useful for our day-to-day life, and we can get a lot of guidance from these things. So I'm happy that we were able to complete the course that was selected, and with that we will conclude our discussion here and pray for the grace of Lord Krishna, that we get the clarity of understanding. And we need two things: clarity of understanding and conviction of putting into practice. And thirdly, the courage to do what is right. So that's what we pray for from the Lord. So then Gita becomes a real blessing in our life. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Mahendra Bhai.
Om Pranam Swamiji. Words are powerless to express our gratitude to you, Swamiji. You have given us so much. Your unconditional love, compassion towards us is greatly appreciated. During the retreat and the last 4 days, Swamiji has given us a lot to think about, a lot to remember and assimilate and put it in the practice. For example, at the retreat, verse number 46, Swamiji gave us a clear instruction how to convert our work as a worship. So it's like daily routine work that we do. If it can be converted into worship, what a great relief it will give it to us, and it will give us so much of happiness. And it does not require any major change, but change of attitude. Maybe Swami is student. So that is the good news, Swamiji.
Have I elected to be vegan?
Who mentioned that?
No, I only talked about vegan, not elected to be
You say
vegan.
that, Swamiji, you can double check the case. I was listening very carefully.
You listen again.
Swamiji, that was the
That's a
next
project for
project,
the
not
next
time.
life.
Next life. I did not use that word, Swamiji.
Next
I have to be very careful in using the word.
Yeah,
I will
know.
never use that word for you.
I know.
Because you are Jivan Mukta. I don't want to say anything more. But anyway, thank you very much, Swamiji. Thanks, Kartik Bhai, for all your help, taking this recording and making it available for us on YouTube so that we can listen, go back, and carry on. And our thanks to Anand Bhavan, management, Vishnu Mandir, and in particular Robin Dubey and Dr. Ji for allowing us, I think I'm audible, I can shout it. So thank you very much, and thanks to all the fellow seekers for coming here and encouraging us to make this yajna very, very successful. Next event is likely to be in July. You will be informed about that. And if you are not getting any email, then you please give your email addresses. Once again, thank you very much. Now you will have an opportunity to get blessing from Swamiji, and those who can help us to put the chairs back, that will be appreciated. Thank you very much. Pranam Swami.
The next Swami Prajna.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It will be Swamini Prajnananda, and that will be almost 3 or 4 days event. We don't know the dates,